Welcome to Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum Grand Opening. This is the second year that we have done this, and we are so excited to be able to celebrate 29 days of Black History Month once again. Before we get started, we're going to have Minister Kennedy bless the building.
How y'all doing today? We thank Tony for letting us do this history each year. This is the second year, and so we want to bless the building. Oh, Heavenly Father, as we come today, Father, that set that atmosphere that you ordained for this whole month, for this building, Father. For each history in here, Father, let it be a grand for you, Father. Father, all the things that we're doing, Father, that you put in our mind, Father. Give us the strength and the wisdom to do the things that we do this month, Father, because it's all about our history, Father. And to know more, each and every person that come through that door, Father, let them feel the anointness of the newness of history, Lord Heavenly Father. We ask you these things, Father, and bless this building from top to bottom, Father, for each and every person that comes in here, Father. Just someone walk up, Father, that we be a blessing to their life in your holy Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, now we can officially get started. We're going to kick this off with the Black National Anthem. And the Black National Anthem will be sung by Samara Jeffrey.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that dark past has brought us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has taught us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael McPherson. I'm the Executive Director of the South Seattle Emerald. The South Seattle Emerald is an online news publication that works to amplify the authentic voice of South Seattle. And I say amplify because we want to make sure that the voices, the people of South Seattle is what's heard. It's important. What the Emerald does is work to make sure that South Seattle controls its own narrative and that South Seattle reflects to itself who it is and tells the world who it is. And that is connected directly to what we have going on here with this Black Museum. The reason that's important is because throughout Black people's history, people have tried to tell us who we are. They've tried to reflect stories about us that aren't true. And in order for us to know the truth about ourselves, we have to tell our own stories. We have to tell our own history, and we need to know our own history. So this museum is really important, not only to Black people, so that we know who we are and we can know the strength that we have, but that so everyone in the world actually can know who we are and we can build community together. So I'm honored to be part of this, to have the South Seattle Emerald take part in this museum. So thank you, and make sure you come down and participate and learn more about Black history.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Long, and I'm the Executive Associate and Board Relations Manager at the Museum of History and Industry. I would like to thank everyone for having me here. I would like to thank Tony B for inviting us to take part in this great exhibit, the Call to Conscience, the Black History Month Museum. At MoHi, we thrive to engage within our communities and also share community stories with the public. It was our great honor to get called in and put together a brief slideshow celebrating a short history of Black perseverance and resilience in the city of Seattle. We chose this topic because it is fundamentally American in character and something that should be recognized and celebrated within the community. So once again, please come down. We hope you enjoy the slideshow we put together. Every single photograph came from our collection. And if you have any questions or you would like to see it, we have a link where you can access them. Thank you.
Hello there. My name is Jim Tharp, and I am the caretaker of the Hartsfield Quilt Collection. First of all, thank you, Tony, for allowing us to come in. You were the very first organization that has asked me to bring in my quilts to show you. My quilts are unusual because they are original slave quilts. Not only do I have one, I have several. Today, I'm bringing in 3 quilts that most people will have never seen before or even understand because they have hidden messages within them. If in fact you want to see these quilts, if in fact you want to understand how the hidden messages were hidden within the quilts, please come down because this is a one in a lifetime opportunity. I thank Tony again. I thank the people here again. And I thank God for allowing this to happen. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Bowles, and I have a display of Negro League memorabilia. This is my second year here. Last year was pretty nice. I was surprised at the various items that were here in this building. But anyway, it seemed like everybody had a lot of fun, and it was very informative, so I'm back again. My collection first started way back when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I used to collect baseball cards. Not only for the cards, but for the bubble gum and the Bazooka Joe comics that were inside. And then it kind of died off as I got into other things growing up. But then in 1989, Billy Ripken rookie card, on the knob of the bat, there was some profanity, and all of a sudden everybody wanted that card. And the card rose up to about $200 in value. So then people started to look at other rookie cards and figured that they would go up in value too. So everybody was out collecting rookie cards and going further back in history, which I did as well. And one thing I noticed was that I had to go really far back to see some of the old Negro League players because there weren't too many cards that were produced by the major card making companies like Topps and Bowman. So there was a big gap in the history. The more I dug into it, the more amazed I was at the quality of the ball players. And actually there were 2 major leagues. There was the white major leagues and the black major leagues. Okay. Anybody that says that the quality was not equal, they just need to remember that Satchel Paige, Cool Papa Bell, Josh Gibson, they all came from the Negro Leagues. So did Willie Mays, okay, Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks. But anyway, I have gotten quite a collection. I brought some of my items down here for everyone to take a look at. I'd be glad to answer any questions that anybody has. I also encourage people to talk to their relatives, neighbors, ask if there's any Negro League players that are either in their family history or that they might know of today. Right now we have 37 former players who have been inducted into the National Hall of Fame. Remember, it says National Hall of Fame, so everybody should be included. Okay. We only have about 3 players who played before Jackie Robinson got in, who are still living today. So it's important to spread the word, keep this going. I just love talking about the Negro Leagues, and I could go on and on and on. But anyway, please come on down, see what's here. There's a lot to see. I'm also wearing some Baltimore. This is a Baltimore jersey, Baltimore Elite Giants, not elite, Elite. I'm representing Baltimore because we will not be represented in the Super Bowl this year. So anyway, come on down. Like to see you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheila Locke. I founded Nasty Mix Records in 1985. So I'm honored to present some of the history of Nasty Mix Records and some of our local artists, highlighted by Sir Mix-a-Lot. Thank you to Tony B for inviting Nasty Mix to be here to share some of our history, some of the history of some of the great artists that we were able to produce here from the Seattle, Tacoma, Pacific Northwest area. I think you'll like what you'll see. There's a lot of information about our artists and our releases and just about the label in general that hasn't been seen or talked about in quite some time. So this is a great opportunity to come relive some of the things that we did as a record label and relive what Sir Mix-a-Lot started and some of the other artists that he brought with him. So we're extremely happy and excited to be here and part of this museum this year. Come on down. Thank you.
Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Thompson, and I am a representative of the alumni members of the Total Experience Gospel Community Choir that has represented Seattle for over 50 years. If you know anything about Total Experience Choir, man, it was a big choir full of young people and community people and older people, and we all came together and we loved God and we worshiped God and we sang. And if you know anything about our Pat Wright leader, boy, I tell you, this was a woman of integrity. She was very, very serious about her community. She's very, very serious about her children and the people that were in the choir. I sang with the choir. Oh my gosh, I think I got in the choir when I was 11 years old, somewhere around there. And it was in the rather like the late 70s, maybe about 79. And I remember singing for professionals and for different communities, churches, community centers. I remember going far, coming. Pat has taken us everywhere out of the country, Nicaragua, all over the states of Washington, all over the states of the United States. Also, with being in Total Experience, I remember back when I was a child singing in Total Experience, doing the Black Community Festival Parade. And that Black Community Festival Parade, we would march that parade and we would sing. And just some of the things, the legacy the choir brought to this city is simply amazing. The many, many children, young people, and that are grown adults now that have gone through the choir, that have moved on and doing their legacy things. Pat would be smiling. We lost her maybe a couple years ago. But I know she is just gleeing with smiles because she sees the representation of what she produced in us. Like, for instance, specifically, there are so many of the young people now that are directors of their own choirs. There are so many that are in theater now and that are acting and directing those kind of roles. So it's amazing to see that legacy. So listen, we are honored to be here at the Black History Museum here. We are very honored to be here to let this legacy move on. Please, if you have time, we're going to be here all month. Come down, check out every exhibit. I guarantee you, I promise you that you will find the laughter, the love, the hope. You will see the endurance of our people, musicians, authors, artists. You'll see their work. And I'm guaranteeing that it'll put a smile on your face. It'll encourage you to do something. So thank you once again for your time. My name is Stephen Thompson. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, once again, I am Tony Benton, and we're still going to continue here, but this seems like the perfect time to make an announcement. On February 10th, starting at 6 o'clock, the Total Experience Alumni Gospel Choir will be performing here. Really rare opportunity, really excited to have them here. So once again, February 10th, starting at 6 o'clock, you not only get admission to the museum, but you see an exclusive once-in-a-lifetime performance by the Total Experience Alumni Gospel Choir. You can go to calltoconscience.world and get your tickets. Again, that's calltoconscience.world. That's where you can get your tickets, or you can go to Eventbrite. So one more again, February 10th, and this is breaking news, you will have an opportunity to see the Total Experience Alumni Gospel Choir. This gospel choir has sang for two presidents, President Clinton and President Obama, 22 different countries, 38 different states, and just an amazing. So February 10th, next Saturday, starting at 6 o'clock, get your tickets in advance. Very limited number of tickets because there's not a lot of space because there's a museum here. Your night at the museum here for Black History Month for Call to Conscience can be augmented by watching an exclusive concert by the Total Experience Alumni Gospel Choir. Having said that, we've got more music coming. Please welcome one more again to sing for you. Change is going to come. Samara Jeffrey.
I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother. Yeah. And I say, brother, help me, please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times that I thought I couldn't last for too long. But now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Thank you.
Wow. I know that we have a really limited in-studio audience here, but for those of you in studio and for those of you watching in Seattle, around the Northwest, on the West Coast region, around the country, and around the world, how about a big round of applause again for Samara Jeffrey. Wow. We're almost ready to get started, but I just want to share some information with you about what we've got going on here. Again, this is the Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum. We are housed in the historic Columbia City Theater. This building, this theater, this venue has been a part of our community for 108 years. In this particular building, the likes of Jimi Hendrix have performed. Quincy Jones has performed. Ray Charles has performed. Ernestine Anderson has performed. One of the exhibits that we have is provided by the Black Heritage Society of Washington State is the Jackson Street exhibit. If you are unaware of the history of Jackson Street in Seattle in the jazz community, all the way starting essentially from the late teens up until the mid 50s, you need to come down to this museum. Jackson Street was the place to be if you were a jazz musician. Now you have to remember at this time, jazz was a new art form and it was risky and people were saying, what is this new style of music? And it wasn't accepted everywhere, but musicians were practicing their craft, honing their craft, and Seattle was the place to do it. Why all the way in Seattle? Well, there were a few reasons. For one, although there was segregation around the country, during Jackson Street, there was integration. There, between 12 blocks, if you're not from Seattle, 12 blocks. But if you're from Seattle and you're familiar with Seattle, on Jackson Street, between 1st and 12th Avenues, there were 34 nightclubs. Yeah, you heard me right, 34 nightclubs. Bands would literally play in one nightclub, jump in a limousine, go perform in another nightclub. So not only did you have jazz, this incredible new music that folks were listening to, you had integration where you had the Native community, the immigrant community, the Black community, the white community, the middle-class white community, the wealthy white community, all converging on Jackson Street and having a good time down there. But there was more as well. There was alcohol. Some of the alcohol was actually produced and made. I forgot what those things are called. Does anybody remember out there what those things are that they? Yeah, they made the alcohol. Then other alcohol was brought in, and so you had now. So you've got race mixing, you've got alcohol, and you have corruption, because the police department knew what was going on and they let it happen until they didn't let it happen. So there would also be raids that would take place. Now, when a raid happened, they'd come in, they'd get their money, they'd shut the nightclub down, but the nightclubs knew just pay the fee and you'll be open again the very next night. Now, the patrons who attended also knew what the deal was. If you were Black or if you were Native, if you were immigrant, you'd be arrested. But then they would let you out that morning because they knew you had to go to work. So you could go back to the nightclub the next day. However, if you were white, you'd get a slap on the wrist and you'd be told not to come back down to this area, wink, wink, and then you could come back down the next night. That's the Jackson Street exhibit that we have here. Come down, take a look, and there's so much more to see. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what we've got going on here. We have an installation and an exhibit by the Seattle Black Panther Party. If you're unfamiliar with Seattle Black Panther Party, they were the first chapter of the Black Panther Party formed outside of California, and they accomplished amazing things. They started, among other things, what is now known as the Free Breakfast Program. Yes, they started that right here in Seattle. The national program that goes on everywhere, all around the country, was started by the Seattle Black Panther Party. The Seattle Black Panther Party was started by Elmer Dixon and Aaron Dixon. And these gentlemen at the time, 17, 18, 19 years old, 22, 23, 24 years old, that were leading this movement. Come down and check it out. It's also a wonderful time for me to make another special announcement about what's going to take place here. We are going to be having Elmer be here. Elmer Dixon will be here. He'll be autographing his new book. He'll be giving a lecture, and we're going to give you a sneak preview of the Seattle Black Panther documentary that's being produced, that is scheduled to come out in June. Yeah, that deserves a round of applause too. So you'll get a sneak preview of that. In addition to that, you'll also have the opportunity, once again, to be spending a night in the museum. So we've got the Total Experience Gospel Choir performing live here at the Black History Month Museum, the Call to Conscious Black History Month Museum. Elmer Dixon, the co-founder of the Seattle Black Panther Party, will be here autographing his book, and we'll give you a preview. I think it's about 30 minutes long of the documentary that should come out in June, but wait, there's more. Sheila was here. I'm sorry? Elmer.
What date?
Oh, waiting on the date. It'll be late February, but after the 22nd. We'll figure out that date. Thank you for asking. But February 10th, that's a hard date that we have in place. Another hard date that we have in place is February 3rd. The Ezell's family, 40 years in business. As soon as I say Ezell's, everyone's mouth starts watering because of Ezell's. Famous chicken. Started off with one store. Took them 6 years to initially get the funding to start this very first store. On February 3rd, I believe it was 1984. That makes February 3rd, 2024, the 40th anniversary of Ezell's. They will be celebrating their 40th anniversary. Lewis Rudd, Darnell Rudd, and Faye Stevens will be right here at the Call to Conscious Black History Month Museum from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, talking about their history, talking about their trials, their tribulations, their successes. And by the way, they now have 17 stores. Yeah, that's okay. So that's going to be taking place on February 3rd from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. We will be broadcasting that live for you right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Then February 10th, again, the Total Experience Gospel Choir, Total Experience Alumni Gospel Choir will be here starting at 6 o'clock. Again, you'll be able to come into the museum, night at the museum with the Total Experience Alumni Gospel Choir. Then on February 16th, I don't know if this is the first time or not. The first time? It is the first time. Sheila just confirmed. Nasty Mix Records reunion right here at the Columbia City Theater. Sheila will be here. Nasty Ness will be here. There'll be some other special guests here. And again, we'll be talking about this incredible label that was started right here in the Northwest on a chance meeting, ended up having gold records, platinum records, recognized not only around the country, but around the world. The Nasty Mix reunion will be taking place starting at 6 o'clock. Right here, we'll be on the air broadcasting. And I'm kind of putting Sheila on the spot here when I say, you know what, we might do something afterwards too. And Sheila claps her hands. So you never know. Something might be going on here a little later on that afternoon. We'll definitely keep you informed. It's a work in project. It's a work in progress. You know what? As we've pulled this together for the museum, which is incredible, I'll talk more about the installations that will be here. We continue to build this out for Black History Month. But wait, there's more. You saw earlier, if you were watching, Mr. Jim Tharp was up here, who told you about his incredible quilt collection, the Hartsfield quilt collection. Some of these quilts date back to the 1850s. Now, do you know about the quilt codes? Academia says that the quilt codes do not exist. The quilt codes were codes that were placed into quilts. These codes were ways for enslaved people to communicate with each other. The reason why academia says that they do not exist is because they weren't written down. Well, of course they were not written down. You would be killed, tarred, feathered, burned alive. And so what an incredible job of keeping a secret during this time. These quilts will be on display, and Mr. Jim Tharp himself will be here, and we'll get that date as well to be determined. He'll be doing a lecture, and he'll be autographing his book. And this particular book, wish I had a copy of it right here. We have it there somewhere. Has examples of the quilts that he has, and you can learn more about the quilt codes, and we will verify to you that, yes, thank you, Mr. Merriweather. This is the book right here. And he'll be autographing this book. There are only a few copies left, so you should come down and get a copy. You can see the history of these quilts and the Hartsfield family quilt collection. And yes, African Americans were savvy enough, although enslaved, to figure out a way to communicate, to share information with each other. And this was a big factor in the Underground Railroad. These codes would say, this is a safe house. This is not a safe house. Go to the river. Amazing work here. And Mr. Tharp will be here doing a lecture and autographing his books for the quilt codes. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more a little bit later. But right now, I'd like to welcome again, I mentioned to you earlier about the co-founder who will also be doing a book signing here. And we're also going to be showing the document, not the entire documentary, just a preview. But right now, I'm honored, and this gentleman, and I know he doesn't like me to say amazing things about him, but he's always supported my Black History Month events. He's traveled down to Tacoma, no matter how small. And when I decided to do the Call to Conscience Black History Month event last year for the first time, first person I called was Elmer Dixon. And without any hesitation, he said yes. And that made the dominoes fall. Because if you have Elmer Dixon in the Seattle Black Panther Party, you got everybody. Mr. Elmer Dixon.
Good afternoon. So honored to be here, and I'm glad that Tony B is out of that hospital bed. And I see some friends out there. You know, preserving history is critical now more than ever. You know, our liberties have been under attack for years now. A lot of the successes that were accomplished during the civil rights movement, voters' rights, affirmative action, those things are scaled back dramatically now. And I'm sure all of you are aware that there are right-wing politicians that are attempting to change history yet again, saying that slavery was not all that bad. There's a video of Christopher Columbus, a caricature of him telling school children that if he didn't enslave the people in the West Indies, they would have starved to death, so slavery wasn't that bad. This is what they continue to do to change and alter history. The Black Panther Party, as we launched in 1966, the Seattle chapter, the first chapter outside of the state of California in 1968, from the very beginning, we were misaligned, demonized in the press, and they were in fact trying to write our history in the moment. Huey P. Newton said that power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. And he said, we're going to tell our own history. And so that's when we published the Black Panther Party Intercommunal News Service, which is our Panther paper. And so we told our own story and we were building our own history while it was happening. And so today, we're about preserving that legacy. This is a small step here, being in this site for this pop-up museum. We just left downtown at the Metropole building. We're in negotiations to put a temporary site for our museum in operation there until we build a permanent site. So there will be, coming shortly in the future, Revolutionary Black Panther Party Interpretive Museum and Research Center, so that young people can come and learn about revolutionary movements, plan their own operations, their own activism, and do it with a pulse on history, on true history. So I celebrate Tony for doing this effort and for continuing to invite us to be a part of this. And I welcome you to come down. My book is out as well. I don't want to push my book, but it's called Die Standing: From Black Panther Revolutionary to Global Diversity Consultant. It's been on a #1 bestseller list for history about the Pacific Northwest, so it's a bestseller. And I will have some copies here. So thank you and look forward to seeing you.
All right. Welcome to Black History Month. This is exciting. It really is a kickoff, not only for the Call to Conscious Black History Month Museum, but this is a kickoff for Black History Month as well. So again, put visiting this museum on your to-do list. Last year, we had visitors who came as far away as from Vancouver, BC, Kelowna, BC, Surrey, BC. We had visitors from Idaho. We had visitors from Oregon. We had folks who visited from other countries who came here, and their guests brought them to this museum as well. And so, hey, come from anywhere. It's all good. So I'll mention again some of the installations. So the Seattle Black Panther Party installation is here. Once again, phenomenal and incredible. The Black Heritage Society of Washington has the Jackson Street exhibit, which is here with us once again. The Rainier Cinema Black movie posters. Can you tell them gentlemen to stop talking, please? The Rainier Cinema Black movie posters. Now, this building that we're in, once again, used to be called the Rainier Cinema. As I mentioned, that this building has been a number of things in this community. In the late 60s and the early 70s, it was the only space where you could see what we call Black and Kung Fu movies. And so this is where we saw Superfly. This is where we saw The Mac. This is where we saw Cleopatra Jones. This is where we saw Claudine. This is where we saw all of those movies. And we have a poster collection. Well, that's Rainier Avenue. That is actually my personal collection. And I decided to bring posters down here from the 60s and the 70s. It's something, this collection of posters that I have here, I call Confrontation, Excitation, and Exploitation. The thing that I like about movie posters is it shows the character and the spirit of independent Black filmmakers through the posters. How much money they had to make the posters, how much money they didn't have to make the posters. But they reflected who we were, as opposed to the major filmmaking companies who depicted us however they wanted to. And so in the 60s and in the early 70s, they realized there was a lot of money to be made by showing Black films. And so it was kind of a comeback at first for Black films. That's where this term Blaxploitation comes into play. You'll find out more about that when you get down here. But yes, this building, the Rainier, was the Rainier Cinema. If you Google that now, feel free to Google, you'll find out that it doesn't exist. That's why it's so important for us to document our own history. Your history is important. Your family history is important. Too many times I've heard stories of folks who say, well, we have our grandparents, our great-grandparents' stuff. What are we going to do with this? And they throw it away. How many homes have thrown away history that could connect and tie the pieces together of the contributions of African Americans in this country? So let's stop doing that. What do you do with it? I know you might be saying to yourself, well, there's nowhere to go. We'll figure it out. First thing is keep it. Call us at Call to Conscience so that we can document, digitize, make this history available, showcase it, show it to people. We have our community wall. I'll talk about that a little bit later. So along with the Rainier Cinema Black movie posters, then we have again the Hartsfield Family Enslaved Quilt Collection, which we talked about. We have Revere XR. So if you're into technology, you will have the opportunity to walk into a metaverse, put some goggles on, and be in the old Central District, which was not the Central District that it is today. But at a point in time, that was the only place where Black folks and folks of color could live due to restrictions and covenants where we couldn't even live in another neighborhood. On the one hand, I remember that time as very cool. I was one of those young people who benefited from the Seattle Black Panther Party free breakfast program, and your whole neighborhood, your whole community was there. Anyway, Revere XR is a partner of ours, and they're actually putting on a hackathon, the University of Washington, on the 2nd and 3rd. So check that out as well. You did hear from Michael Bowles in the Negro League Baseball, Seattle Steelheads. Incredible display that Michael's put together. He's actually got enough stuff probably to fill up this whole theater, but we've got a portion of it right here. And he's also got some information for you that you can see. Come on down. Seattle Steelheads. Seattle had a Negro League baseball team. It lasted basically one season. But come down and find out more. He's also got more artifacts and a lot of visuals for you to see about Negro League baseball. Ezel's Famous Chicken, as I mentioned, they'll be here on the 3rd, but the display is up here now. Nasty Mix Records and Sir Mix-a-Lot. The story of Nasty Mix Records. The display is phenomenal. Sheila, thanks. Wonderful job with that display. Authentic artifacts that you'll be able to see here. The Nasty Mix reunion on February 16th, or there'll be a discussion and then maybe something happening afterwards. Maybe something really cool happening afterwards. The South Seattle Emerald, which display is right behind me, actually, will be here. This is a online newspaper that was started 10 years ago. So you may be saying 10 years is not that long. It's a 10-year anniversary. That's how history works. In 1920, they probably weren't thinking about it being 2020 and us talking about all of the things that were taking place during the Harlem Renaissance, which happened after Reconstruction. So history is something that is made every day. The South Seattle Emerald, come down and find out more about this amazing online newspaper and its founder, Marcus Harrison Green. That is here. It's actually right behind me. Can't see it, but you will when you come down. I mentioned community keepsakes and memorabilia. We're inviting everyone who attends to bring down a piece of memorabilia on an 8.5 by 11, or you can digitize it and send it to us. We're going to put it up on our community wall. We started out last year with nothing on the wall, a blank wall. And we finished and had quite a bit of that wall full. We're going to put a number of those back up, and we're going to add more to it. We want to fill up the entire wall with community memorabilia, telling the story of your history and your community. Anthony Long was up here earlier. He put together an incredible slideshow on behalf of the Museum of History and Industry that covers a number of different things. Thank you, Anthony, for your time and effort in putting that together. You'll be able to see it on our big screens, which were provided by Tabor 100. Thanks, Rico, for making that happen. A lot of different people were involved in pulling this together. Total Experience Gospel Choir, Pat Wright. Again, you will see that exhibit here. Again, February 10th. Get your tickets now. Go to calltoconscience.world. There will be an exclusive performance and concert by the Total Experience Gospel, Alumni Gospel Choir, starting at 6 o'clock. You can go to Eventbrite. You can find it there. You can go to calltoconscience.world. Limited number of tickets. You get to come into the museum. And in addition to being into the museum, a night at the museum with the Total Experience Gospel Choir. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. We'll also have an exhibit from the Black Prisoners Caucus. This was started about the time of right after the Seattle Black Panthers Party. Black folks were getting arrested, and yes, that discrimination and those injustices and oppressions continued inside the prison system. They started the Black Prisoners Caucus. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering the name. Mr. Bell started the Black Prisoners Caucus, and they fought for a number of different rights. One of the things was for the University of Washington Black Student Union to come in and start teaching classes on math and history to those who were incarcerated. This eventually led to programs where those who were incarcerated could receive associates or associate or business level degrees while they were incarcerated. There was also visitation programs. There was the opportunity to put together a bus system so that for folks who wanted to visit their family in prison, they could be bused there for free. The Black Prisoners Caucus will be here. And then also the Tacoma Buffalo Soldiers Museum has an exhibit down here as well. The Buffalo Soldiers have fought for this country since before the Civil War. The reason why they were called the Buffalo Soldiers, by the way, the story has it, is that is what the natives of the land called them because of their fierce fighting ability like buffaloes and also their woolly hair. So those are the exhibits and installations that will be available here at the Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum. We're excited for you to come down. We'll be here from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. all the way through the 29th. We'll be open from Tuesdays through Sundays. I suggest you get your tickets in advance. Go to calltoconscience.world. These are guided tours, so no more than 10 per tour. We do that to make sure that everyone has a wonderful quality experience when you're getting this tour. Suggest you sign up in advance. Tours happen at the top of the hour, but we do take walk-ups as well. And we'll take walk-ups at the top of the hour and at the bottom of the hour. So you can do that. Again, go to calltoconscience.world. You can see all the information there. You can purchase your ticket in advance. You can walk up. And along with the tour of the museum, you also get a tour once again of this amazing 108-year-old theater. Wow. Thank you for listening to our Black History Month opening ceremonies. Thank you to all of our guests who joined us and shared information about their exhibits, about their history, about their passion. Again, thanks to some folks who were really critical in making this happen. One of which is Kimberly Phillips, who's also an incredible artist who has art that's going to be on display here that you'll see, and has been working very carefully with me. Big thanks to Marcella Taylor, who's done amazing work behind the scenes to make this happen. Mr. Rico Brown, again, behind the scene things to make this happen. a number of people who were involved in really what is a work of passion. You know, I say this because this is something that was put together by the community. This is not something where I went out and I asked prominent donors in the community to give us funding. This is an independent project because we can do this. And we did it last year, and we're doing it again this year. So thank you, everyone, for watching. We hope to see you down here. Again, I've told you about our live broadcast. More information will be going out about that. You'll be able to watch on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. That's Rainier Avenue Radio.world if you're watching right now. You can go and you can sign up to our subscription, and you can be added to our e-newsletter list, and then you'll get all of this information. And again, shameless self-promotion, you can also donate. That's how we survive. We are a nonprofit radio station that broadcasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Over 80 of our programs that you will hear on this radio station are hosted by members of our community. And we do this for them free of charge. And as a matter of fact, we will provide training for them as well. You'll hear talk shows. We broadcast talk shows of all kinds, serious topics that people want to discuss, their personal issues, some things that people think are funny or hope that are funny, whatever. We say whatever you want to put on the air, we're not going to edit it. We want to make sure that we amplify and put those voices on the air. You'll hear music of all kinds, music of all genres on this radio station. We broadcast high school sports, basketball, football, baseball. We'll be broadcasting wrestling and soccer. As a matter of fact, coming up here very shortly, we'll be broadcasting the Metro League Championships. So stay tuned for that and more information on our high school sports broadcast. We also broadcast in multiple languages. It's the community that we live in. We broadcast in Tagalog. We broadcast in Fijian. We broadcast in Mandarin Chinese. We broadcast in Vietnamese. We broadcast in Spanish. We broadcast in more languages than that. That is Rainier Avenue Radio.world. I'm proud to say that we also have an education program, the Creative Arts Digital Media Academy. We teach everything from communications and journalism to app design, web design, film, photography, and broadcast. We've graduated over 450 students from our programs who went through from middle school students to high school students. So we're incredibly proud of our educational programs. Let me say this again, not what we're going to do, what we've already done in this community. So if you want your own program and you're listening right now, you can have your own program. Just go to our website and go to show applications, fill it out. Before you know it, you'll be on the air here at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Again, my name is Tony B. And thank you. Oh, got to give a shout out to Daniel Bellis, the producer who's behind the scenes, who also does a show called Fresh Juice that you can hear from 9 to 11 on Wednesdays. And Minister Kenny. Big shout out to Minister Kenny, who also does a show called God is Inspiration. I could keep going on and on and on and on. So if I've missed somebody, I know SK1 is here earlier, who also does a show where he plays music from the 80s, I believe. I could go on and on and on about our shows. That's it. That's all the time that we have. It's me, Tony B, on behalf of everyone who's participating in the Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum, and everyone who's coming down and joining us, everyone who has a show on Rainier Avenue Radio. That's it. That's all the time that I have. That's going to do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B, saying to you, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.